Hello everyone, my name is Emmanuel and today I'll be demonstrating arrays. So what is an array? An array is a collection of storage locations, think of them like lockers, that contain data types or items of the same data type. When referencing elements in an array, we refer to the position or index of the particular element within the array. So an example here is a single-dimensional array with 5 elements. And so at index 0 or position 0 of the array, we have the element 1. At index 3 or position 3 of the array, we have the element 4. To define arrays, we use the data type followed by square brackets and the variable name. Then to initialize an array, we're going to use whatever values we want in these squiggly brackets here. So this single dimensional array, we have 5 values or 5 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to create an instance of an array or an empty array, we're going to use the new keyword followed by the data type and square brackets specifying how long or how many elements we want in the array. So in this case 5, just like this initialized array we have here. An example of a single dimensional array, I have initialized an array here with values 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And let's say we wanted to find the value 4. We're going to call this contains method, which uses an integer array as the parameter and an integer as the value we want to find. We will cycle through using a for loop. And then if the value that we want to find is equal to any of the values within the array, then it should display the statement true. And so yes, 4 is within this array and the array contains the value 4. If we wanted to use a value like 10, it should say no, and indeed it does. No, the array does not contain the value 10. So that's an example of how to process through a single dimensional array. So for multi-dimensional arrays, think of them as arrays within arrays. So for the first array, first element here, 1, it has its own array, which in this case is called a column. So in column 0, we have 1, 5, and 9, and in row 0, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So to define an array, we use the data type followed by 2 square brackets and then the variable name. To initialize, same concept, except we're enclosing each array, these arrays with its own squiggly brackets, as you can see here. And then, so this would be the first row, or row 0, and then these would be the columns of this array. To create an instance of a multi-dimensional array, we use the new keyword, followed by a data type, followed by square brackets indicating rows and columns. So for this new empty array, we have 3 rows and 4 columns. And so we're going to show that in my example here. We have an empty array with 3 rows and 4 columns, and we want to assign values since they're initially 0 in the beginning, since there's no values assigned. We're going to call this method and assign values to an array, and we're going to call that array new multi-array. And so to do that, we're going to start with a value of 1. We're going to assign a value to each element in this array. We're going to use 2 for loops, one for loop searching through each row of the array, and a second nested for loop searching through each column of the array. We're going to assign the value here, and then for visualization purposes, I have it showing in the code each value when it is assigned. So as you can see here, we have 3 rows and 4 columns in this multi-dimensional array. So we use arrays because it's tedious to create and assign values for multiple variables when working with a single data type. For example, if we want to work with an alphabet and assign a letter to variables to work with, we can do that, but that would be 26 variables and that would be very tedious. So it's much easier just to assign each letter of the alphabet to an array containing 26 elements. So we can do that with a for loop. We can do that with a for loop, passing 26 times for each letter and assigning each letter to the character array as such shown here. So we wouldn't use arrays if we're working with multiple data types, so we can't use strings and integers. We can only work with one data type, like integers. So that would be an instance why we shouldn't or couldn't use arrays. And that's pretty much my presentation. Thanks for watching, and have a good rest of the day.